Hello.
Well.
Welcome back. Welcome back once again to Wheel Takes.
I'm so happy.
A podcast about the Wheel of Time, a series of fantasy novels written by
that
one
are perfect.
Robert Jordan.
I've never said anything bad about them in my life or Robert Jordan.
I'm Gus. I've read all of them.
And I'm Allie, and I'm happy.
And this podcast only contains spoilers for what Allie's already read, and today that's everything up to and including Knife of Dreams, Chapter 10, which is called what?
The Moraine Life
The
Chat.
MLC?
The MLC.
Yeah.
Moraine lives.
Now a couple of pieces of business before we get into it. We may sound different today. We're on the old mic because our podcast studio is fucked. Long story short, the flooding caused us to do some investigation and discover that it's apparently been full of mold for a very long time. Like, before we lived here, long time. So, we're fixing that. But, for the next very long time, we're gonna not be able to be in there, because it's disgusting. Now it's actually got, the walls ripped out. Anyway, everything else is fine. We're fine. We're better now anyway. Yeah, we're fine, so it's all good. It's just a pain.
It's just one of those Allie and Gus are God's stooges. There's a lot going on in the world that's awful, and we provide the comedic entertainment that everyone needs to just give us that comic relief.
Yeah, so, mold. So that's that.
We're Mold Takes.
Welcome
to Mold Takes.
Mold Slander Hour today, and for the next while, I guess, we're recording, crouched, lying prone, basically.
Old school,
huddled around one microphone, no headphones, no soundboard. The soundboard is still in there, actually.
So what I'll do is I will make the soundboard.
So Allie will do the the classics. But yeah, we're good, we're happy, we're healthy. We'll be better when there's no mold in the studio. The other thing is we still have some people to thank because we've been thanking people bit by bit. And as a reminder, we're behind on our patron thanks, and we're working our way back to the present.
Because you all are too dang generous. Stop it.
Very good of you.
But also, maybe don't, because we need to rebuild our studio.
So, 5 thanks today. First things first, and this was explicitly a gift to get Petey something nice after he had his injury. Thanks for the bubbly Sin.
Sin, your contribution went toward our PD 1 year anniversary present, or yes. PD-versary present. We got him a sandbox.
We did.
It will bring him endless joy, and so for that we thank you.
Thanks for the pint, Sophie K.
But should I say something about... I need to give Sin a compliment.
Yes. Well, I don't know. You said the ending thing.
Wait, just...
You concluded.
Well, you didn't let me conclude further.
Please continue.
Just like a robust sandbox, you are fun for the whole family. You know how to keep it lighthearted for the kids, and also crack a good little crass joke every now and then, and that's awesome to be around somebody so socially versatile. You also have great boundaries. We love someone with great boundaries. You are able to articulate what you need when you need it in a way that is kind and compassionate to other people as well. Because we all know having boundaries doesn't mean being awful to people about them, right? Kindly communicating when things aren't working for you. And also, there are a lot of pieces to you. A lot of things that make up who Sin is. You are somebody with a lot of depth. And a lot of, different interests and aspects to your personality, which makes you always interesting to talk to because you always have something new that you're noodling on. And for that, we thank you. And thanks for being a part of this community.
Thanks for the pint, Sophie K.
Sophie K, just like a sophisticated air conditioner. You are a breath of fresh air, Sophie K.
Mold-free.
Mold-free. No, it's just like an industrial dehumidifier. You are a breath of fresh air. You soak up all of the wet blankets of the world and you go, stop being that way. We need to seek radical joy in a world that likes to just try to make it so that you don't feel that way. But you're always reaching for the radical joy, Sophie K. And also, you are industrious. You've got a lot of hands in a lot of different places. Let me rephrase. You are somebody who is busy, but in a good way. You know when you need to take a step back, but you are also somebody who is excited by what life has to offer. So you're going to go out and you're going to seize it. And for that, we thank you, Sophie K. And thanks for being a part of this community.
Thanks for the high five, Alexander G.
Alexander G. Just like a captivating groundhog. I don't know if anyone else is on Puxatawny Phil talk.
I was for a minute. I didn't really engage with it.
It's Ratatouille all over again, and I love it. I love everything about it. Because apparently, did you know this? The lore is that Puxatawny Phil gets to live forever, but his wife Phyllis does not.
What?
For the people who are not from
God.
America, Groundhog Day, and I will get to you, Alexander, I promise. Groundhog Day is this event every year that happens in which we have this groundhog.
It's also a very good movie starring, I forgot his name because of the mold.
Oh my God.
This is what mold, I'm kidding. It's probably not the mold. It's just
what is happening? Anomia. Oh my God. Why
they're screaming?
It's going. Why is it saying Bill Hader in my head? And it's
Bill.
not Bill Hader.
It's Bill something.
It's Bill.
This is humiliating. I would have played the sound there, the funny sound, but I can't.
Which one?
Da 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 da.
Da da da. Murray. Bill Murray.
It is Bill Murray. Yeah, of course. Good Lord.
Jesus Christ. Okay, we're getting our entertainment.
That was a lot of mold.
We're not allowed in entertainment anymore.
No.
Okay, so Groundhog Day. They take a groundhog. His name is Puxatawny Phil. And
it's because his name is Phil and he's from Punxsutawney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But his name is Punxsutawney Phil. And if Punxsutawney Phil sees his shadow...
Now, God knows how we determine
We have no idea. But if Punxsutawney Phil sees his shadow... that means that winter is going to last longer this year. And if Punxsutawney Phil does not see his shadow when he is taken out of his little hole, then then winter will be short this year. Spring will come early. So this year, notably, and I know it sounds completely unhinged to anyone who doesn't live here, and the answer is it is.
Alexander is currently canceling his plan.
I'm sorry, Alexander. We're getting to you, I promise. But so, yeah, that is what happens in America.
And TikTok made up lore about it.
And then TikTok made up a musical about it.
Good.
Yeah.
All right.
So, okay, just like a groundhog, you are a snuggly guy, a snuggly person. You love to just be holed up in your home, being comfy and cozy. We love that for you. I, too, am a sleepy, happy little clam when I'm at home. So you are somebody who just likes a good snuggle, a good little lie-in. You know your body, you know your limits. You're also someone who's just celebrated near and far. You know, being with you is an event. It is fun. It is interesting. It is lively. Oh, you're also unique because you know what? Groundhog Day is not a universal holiday.
Yeah.
It is very much a weird
niche.
American thing.
It's very niche.
But we love niche. We love unique. We love people who are not afraid to just own themselves and who they are. And that's you, Puxatawny Alexander. You are like that. And for that, we thank you. And thanks for being a part of this community.
Thanks for the cup of coffee, Carly L. from Collider.
Oh my God, Carly! That's so sweet of you. You all are so sweet. I can't stand it. Carly L, just like a splendid chameleon. You adapt to any situation that you are in, both in terms of your writing voice, but also in terms of like, if somebody needs you to figure something out for them and you're not necessarily sure how to do it, you know Google is free and you are going to take care of it. You are someone who learns quickly and can improvise on the fly. And that's a really necessary and amazing skill. You're also slow to anger. You're somebody who, can really regulate those emotions well in a crisis. You're not afraid to, say when you need a little space, to collect yourself if something's going wrong. And also, you are someone who's not afraid to keep their life balanced in, a perfect scale. If you are a work hard, play hard, but also work soft, play soft kind of gal. And for that, we thank you. And thanks for being a part of this community.
And thanks for the cup of coffee, Nano Wizard.
Nano Wizard, just like a boisterous carabiner.
I like that.
You are a friend to lots of different kinds of people, whether they be Gus in college, who loved to use you to keep a water bottle attached to his belt.
I have no regrets about that.
Rock climbers and members of the LGBTQ plus community. You are also someone who is always there when you are needed, and will hang on tight to the people that you care about. You're also someone we feel safe with and we can trust with our safety. And that's hugely important. You take your role as a friend and mentor seriously, while still, being somebody who can have a good time and really hang out. And for that, we thank you and thank you for being a part of this community.
So yeah, thanks y'all. We'll be back next time with more patron thank yous because we can't keep up with you. Thanks. Okay, Allie.
But
she's apparently fine and apparently has been all this time. How you feeling?
Vindicated.
Yeah.
I wish I could bottle how I feel. Like it's hard because here's the thing. I can't, but I knew it. So there's the smugness and satisfaction of knowing that you're all dumb. No, I'm just kidding. That I am right and the rightest of right. And I am in the playground of right and have been for forever. And will continue to be. There is a smugness because who does Robert think he is to try to pull a fast one on Detective Allie? Not today, Bobby. Not today. But also, you are perfect and have done no wrong. This is the most correct decision you've ever made in your life. And I've never said anything bad about you or your books.
Never once.
Never one time.
No.
Never one time. There is no such thing as the slog. I don't know what you all are talking about. If there's anyone who can capture the matriarchy, well, it is Robert Jordan.
All
and
right.
You can write that down.
So
I said that. You can say, Allie said that. So there is a smugness. There is also the searing excitement of a million suns that my woman is alive and well. I have never felt so joyful in my silly life. Nothing, not even mold, could quash this feeling of utter and complete bliss. Also, let's go get her right now.
well, maybe we will, or maybe we won't.
No,
What
Robert.
do you think? Is that the next chapter?
This is the next thing we do. If it is not, I will throw something.
Well, perhaps you won't. Or perhaps
I am about to be a level of unhinged.
mold.
I'm about to be, because I don't
Yes.
think you understand. I'm having a conversation a private conversation with you. They're not involved.
Creep up on you like mold.
I am going to be a level of unhinged about this plot line that has yet to be really understood. I probably will be part of some study someday.
Right.
Because I love her so much.
Well, yes.
And Rosamund Pike has only increased that love for her.
Yes.
In such a way that I've never felt this good or this hopeful in my life. That includes our wedding. No, I'm just kidding.
That's fair. This was an exciting moment for most readers the first time. Now, believe it or not,
I knew it. I knew, like, there's no way that Lanfear could get her down. There's no way. My girl Moraine is scrappy. She is strong. We are back, baby. She's going to be like, Rand, what the fuck did you do while I was gone? Because what the fuck did he do while she was gone? If we do not she needs to be back post haste. We need to tell Randall Thor. We need to tell Perrin Slaybara. We need to tell... Who else is there? We need to tell Nynaeve, me are going to go get Morena. We're gonna tell Egwene I'll peer into the future and see that Moraine is alive and here and well. We need to tell our friends.
So not Matt.
Didn't I say Matt?
I said Matt. I don't think you did. Maybe you did. You may have.
And Matt already knows. Why do we need to tell Matt?
That's a good point. I forgot.
What he already knows.
He was there for
Matt
this.
Matt is here. Matt knows. Matt took about 45 years to ask about that letter.
Yeah, Tom has known the entire time. You remember, how many fucking times?
Matt is husband. Matt is husband.
Tom has been, conspicuously reading that letter in public places, around Matt. Just whipping he just whips it out. And he starts reading it.
I need you to know that
this is me. I understand.
If it were me, if I were Matt, if I were really Matt in this moment, first of all, it is you because you have no follow-up questions.
I don't want to pry. It seems like a private matter. I don't want to pry.
I don't think you can pry when it's your friend. I think
you absolutely could. What if they get angry and hate me? Completely reasonable concern. I know.
But haven't you ever been gosh, I wish someone would ask me about...
Yes, of course, yes.
I have this big life thing going on.
Same type of thought? What if they're going, I sure hope Gus doesn't ask me any questions ever.
Then they are not my friend because we don't have the same response to a crisis. When I have a crisis, when there's something going on with me,
Wait a minute. The mic is backwards.
Uh-oh.
That's why the sound has been fucky.
Oh.
I was like, why does it sound so quiet? Now that's a little... They didn't even notice. Hello, everybody. We're a mess.
Okay, back to Matt, though.
Blame the mold.
Back to Matt.
Yes.
That is such a you thing to do because,
Back to Matt. That is such a you thing. All right, go ahead.
That is such a you thing to do. If it were me, first of all, if I'm going through something, every single one of my friends already knows.
Right.
Every single one.
Right.
The woman at the bus stop fucking knows.
Right.
Right? So I have no secrets and I never really have.
Right.
So, but second, if it were me, this plot line would have lasted one chapter.
Right.
Because I would have been like, what's that letter? Immediately. I would have been like, what's that letter? And I don't think that I pry. I'm just really good at getting the story. Because your mom, I've said this before to your mom, and your mom was like, are you a sociopath? And I'm like, no. It's just that when I know that there's something going on, I tend to make myself available. Do you know what I mean? I just make myself available.
Yeah, I understand.
I just go, hey, if you ever need anything, if you ever want to chat, I just tell people, and it's not because I genuinely want to help, and I find that talking things out is helpful. But if that's not helpful to them, then they have the option. I'm not like, tell me about your, sad family event. But I'm like, hey, I have heard through the grapevine that something's going on, and I just wanted to lend my support if you need anything. And then if they're a good friend, I ask many follow-up questions. But first I say, may I ask follow-up questions?
Sure.
And that gives them the out of saying yes or no.
Sure, yeah.
But I feel like I'd be a shitty friend if I didn't ask follow-up questions. Not so that you're a shitty friend. You're a good friend in other ways.
So you're saying that Matt should have asked books ago.
Yes!
Well, he didn't, but now he has. And on that note...
I'd have been like, what's that letter, dude?
How about you all ask me to stop putting in so many ad breaks? welcome back.
Moraine's literally first of all, I don't know why Matt didn't just go up to Tom or Tom didn't just go up to Matt and go, "Hey, I've got this letter. Can I show it to you?"
Explicitly, she said, "You cannot tell Matt about this until he asks. If you tell him about this stuff before he asks about it, no rescue can work."
Moraine's literally sitting there wherever she is in jail or whatever. And she's just going, "Are you fucking serious? Like, it should not be taking this
If you
long."
look back, Tom busts this fucking thing out, not infrequently.
No, I know.
It's
I've been tortured by this.
It's a months-old letter, and he just keeps pulling this fucking thing. He whips it out.
I have been tortured by this because I'm like, everything we need to know is in this letter, and he just keeps mentioning it, and I'm like, oh. It's like I've been This is the other thing. I was so certain that I was right about this that like but I feel like I have been like cock teased about it so many times with this letter that I'm just like, fucking finally. Oh my God. And this is why if Moraine was the chosen one, it would have lasted a book. You know what I mean?
She hadn't. Gotta have a
I would be in prison being like, are you effing serious? I would have fallen out of love. I would have gotten the ick by now. And like, I feel like I should be more of a priority.
Now, we did listen to this chapter as a patron live react. Did you take any notes? Or were you too busy?
No, not a single one.
Guzzling Martinelli's non-alcoholic sparkling cider in our moldy podcast studio? I can't stop fucking thinking about that.
I know, we've just been breathing in mold spores for months. It's
disgusting. I'm not going to talk about it too much because it's gross. But like, we started pulling fixtures away from the walls and going, oh no. Oh God.
It's everywhere.
It's bad. Anyway, okay, so
now I feel like I'm going to be checking behind like
everything
our appliances for the rest
of my life. Like every time I look at a bookshelf and I'm like, what if there's mold? It's hard.
The rest of my life. Yeah, it's the most horrifying, disgusting. Like, but there's a part of me. I'm a pimple popper kind of gal. You know what I mean? Like I am somebody who like kind of loves a little bit of disgusting.
Yeah,
just a little.
But you see,
and it is a lot disgusting. But I'm like, ooh, like it scratches a part of my brain.
You didn't have to smell it. Because I had to.
Smell bad?
You know what mold smells like?
Oh yeah.
I so imagine
think about that.
Pulling.
Ooh.
I'm gonna not talk about this on the podcast because I feel like a lot of people are disgusted. I'll talk to you about this offline.
This is all hereditary, theoretical. What? I don't know. Mold.
Never heard of it.
Mold spores.
Full of mold.
We're just
full of mold.
Back to mold rain.
Back to. Is it the Moraine life chap or is it the mold takes life chap? Moldy.
It's both. It's
moldy living
quarters.
That's
then we can't spell.
Because the moldy living companions. In the studio, we had mold living companion. There's got to be a better L.
This week has been such a struggle. It's been
a lot. This is why part of why we didn't have an episode out last week. By the way.
Yeah, we had discovered the mold and we did not have a plan. We had no plan for how to record anything.
Yeah, it was mostly screaming at that point. Anyway, so chapter 10 at last.
Speaking of screaming, I'm so excited.
In Ch10, yes.
One second before we start, because I just have to share again that this is the best day of my life.
It's good, even with the mold.
Yeah, the mold somehow enhanced it.
In Ch10, Matt Chap.
This was fucked up.
Also, yeah, we get the whole ghost. I'm doing the sound effect.
How do you think that sound effect goes?
What do you?
I mean, yeah, but also it's more like a.
That's what I'm doing.
But you're not making it spooky.
I'm being literal.
It sounds very
I'm sorry.
Ragtime musical theater.
You don't want the like Rachmaninoff rendition? Fine. Okay, I try to do the feeling of the soundboard instead of the sound of the soundboard.
Go. There you go. That's spooky.
I was being
We
literal.
had to put some spooky slides
God
in
forbid.
there.
Yeah, well, I know all about slides. I played the trombone for years. Hot lore. Don't blow in the mic. This mic doesn't like it. Actually, I don't remember.
It might like being blown into.
It might. Well, the sound might. I don't know. The sound might get.
You just made it sound like it's its kink, though.
Well, the microphone is not alive. I'm not anthropomorphizing it to that extent. What were we talking about?
Village and Ch10.
Mold. Right. Ghosts. So that's the logo.
Yes, and this is when I started to get excited because I was like, that's a snake and a fox.
It is. The following day brought a respite, or so it seemed. Tuan, in a blue silk riding dress and her wide tooled leather belt, not only rode beside him as the show rolled slowly north.
Tuan mentioned bloom, bloom, bloom.
It was fun because we were talking before the live reaction. People were saying the 10th word in the chapter is Tuan. Allie's gonna have a fit.
Ugh. She's not my fave.
No. So Salucia, Tuan, etc. They're riding along. There's some ravens fly over, and Matt is like, "Oh," and Tuan is like, "You fucking idiot, you dumb piece of shit moron. You don't. If ravens don't mean anything." However, an ant crawled across my crackers this morning, which means that in 7 days a tree is gonna fall on my foot, and that's the truth right there.
I mean, here's my thing. I feel like you either get to be spiritual or not. You get to be superstitious or not. So, like, I don't think that you can tell somebody that, like, their superstition is any dumber than your own.
Now, I understand in theory what you're saying. I think in practice, you are completely wrong.
No, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it annoys me in the book.
You are entirely
but
incorrect.
It's also
this is the
true
most
that
realistic
there
fucking
are
thing ever.
some really fucking dumb people out there.
You and not even dumb. Not even dumb, but I mean, like, if you consider the existence of any holy war.
Well, no, that's my thing. Is
Yeah.
I think that it's bullshit. I think that I think holy
belief
wars.
systems.
I think holy wars are the dumbest thing on the planet.
Yes.
Personally.
Yes.
I think
Hot
they're the
take,
dumbest
the
thing on the
Crusades
planet.
were bad.
It's stupid.
Yes.
It's stupid. Like, the things we kill each other over are fucking dumb if you really think about it. Like, what is the purpose? What is the point?
So,
Like, because my potentially made up thing, potentially,
right, of course.
also potentially not made up thing, also potentially very real and beautiful for somebody and meaningful, but also potentially made up.
Yes.
Right? Like, we don't really know. Thing conflicts with your potentially made up thing, so I'm gonna fucking kill you for it. Like, that's dumb. It's stupid. Stop doing that. Stop killing people for having different religions than you. We need to be past this.
Well, I think it's also, I mean, the less depressing iteration
But
of
I
this.
feel like that was being on my side about, I don't think you get to say that anyone's like thing is dumber than your thing.
Yeah, sure.
But I also am like, but then there are
I'm saying
some
in
people
real life, everybody does that.
that come up to you and they're like, dead Robin Williams is talking
That's
to
a
me.
real cult, wasn't it?
I know.
Yeah.
Dead Robin Williams is talking to me, and like, I'm also God. And, you know, at that point, you're kind of like, oh, and also everyone gets to sleep with me.
That's where you know.
It's always at that point where it's like, and everyone gets to sleep with me.
If you haven't already realized it's a cult, that's when you should really click into it's a cult.
Yeah, it's like, if you don't get to talk to your family, that's a big
red flag.
If you have to move anywhere,
That's a red flag.
I feel like that's a red flag. Yeah, like, I feel like the idea of having a commune is really cool and appealing until but it's like so easy to get to that line of like, but now somebody says that they're God.
Mm-hmm. So anyway.
Yeah, but you know, on a small scale, like, if you're like, I believe that a mirror shattering is 7 years of bad luck, and someone else is like, I think that I can ward off bad luck by knocking on wood, you don't get to say my thing is better than your thing.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
That's silliness.
And she's like, what, you think there's like snake fox dudes too, you clown fuck?
I do.
And he's like,
I've seen them.
No comment. And I paused and I said, see, Allie, that's why it was the Snakes and Foxes logo. Because Tuan mentioned them once.
And I was like, I disagree so wholeheartedly with that claim.
So they're riding along, and they're riding along, and the horses and stuff, and they're riding along.
Zebras, I think, actually, is
You'd
what you
think. but it's not. Horses
Zebras
are more common, so...
No, it's zebras.
It's not a zebra. As
he wanted to get her a special horse. It was a zebra.
I enjoyed, and I don't know if we already said this, by the way, I really did I thought it was cute how many people reached out to us to say, of course it's not a zebra. You can't domesticate a zebra. That is true. That is very much true.
It is true.
I will also very kindly remind us that this is a world where a man can throw fireballs. So, while you're right, that is a point of suspension of disbelief that I would be and also peaches are poison.
We also have domesticated velociraptors.
We do. Yes, I totally agree with you. You're right. That's correct. And that is a good point. And I'm sure Robert Jordan agrees and would say, yes, of course it's not a zebra, Gus, you fucking dunce. However, I do like that the things that we determine are carry through real life canon and things that we don't. I think it's cool. It's Petey's snoring. You might hear him because this microphone is extremely sensitive. Anyway.
Just like me.
Unlike the mold, apparently, which...
Oh my god.
Well, now it's dead, but, Anyway, shout out to Drywall.
Or is it? Or is it going to pull a more rain like a couple seasons from now?
Ghost mold.
I can't do the first part well.
Yeah, because it's like 5 sounds on top of each other. So, there's a bunch of Matt Tuon stuff. You want to talk about any of that?
Just another dissertation as to why I don't think she's good for him.
All right.
Well, I mean, what do they talk about? Anything important? They're just maybe into each other.
He learns more about...
She calls him Toy, which I hate.
She calls him Toy a lot. He learns more about her history. He thinks about how she kind of approaches life like a general approaching a battle, which is probably a point to their compatibility.
Fine. But she's got to give up the slavery thing.
Yeah, it'd be good. She threatened to buy him and turn him into a cupbearer once.
See, this is also a problem.
Yes. Cupbearers were chosen for their beauty, and in Egianen's estimation, he fell far short. Well,
ouch.
In his own as well, truth to tell. Not that he was likely to admit it to anybody. Any number of women had admired his face. He's worried that she's going to marry him. All this stuff.
I mean, I'd be worried about her marrying me too.
And then all of a sudden they're like, cool, a small town. How exciting. Look at this small town.
It's not
Matt is
real.
Like, I feel like I've seen this town before. It's interesting.
I think I've seen this town before.
And everybody is ignoring the village, the circus. And he's like, that's kind of weird. And this peddler is like, fuck yeah, trade. And he charges ahead.
Oh, poor little peddler.
He goes full bore, charging into. I'm exaggerating. He just rides ahead to go into the town. And
this is why the early bird is a chump, actually.
And then Matt hears the peddler's hooves on paved road, and he thinks that road had not been paved since ellipsis. And that is the actual line. Which is funny to me because the meme is, there hasn't been a road in these parts in 500 years.
500 years, see?
And the peddler is also like, oh, wow, they really fucking fixed up this stretch of land. I don't remember there being pavement here. And Matt is like, dude, you got to get out of there. And what happens?
Everything starts sinking into the ground.
What? You're on your phone. What are you doing?
Oh, so I remember that the early bird gets the worm. There's like more to that idiom that actually changes the meaning of that idiom.
Is it like they're always racist? Is it actually racist?
No. But
it's not one of those?
No.
Okay.
No, but that is something that is a good instinct.
It happens so often.
It happens so often. And you're just like, oh, this cute little thing. And it's like, it's actually about death or racism. And you're like, oh,
from
fuck.
When they would stone people to death for having, I don't know, blue eyes.
Yeah, the whole saying is the early bird gets the worm, but the second mouse gets the cheese.
Oh, it's one of these. Yeah, okay, yeah. Well, it's like how the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb and all of those.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
But better,
is often better than a master of one, I think is something like that. So, yeah, I mean, it's weird. It's weird. We made everything capitalist.
Yes. No, the meanings
like we took all the idioms,
pithy idioms have actually been inverted. There's another one.
Rome wasn't built in a day, but they were laying bricks every hour.
Now, I wonder how many of these, the addendums came later.
Oh, great minds think alike, but though fools seldom differ.
Yeah, that one's good.
Curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back. Apparently. Yeah. So, but like what's funny to me about it is like they took some of these and they like made them weirdly capitalist. And I'm like, ew.
They being common vernacular and usage.
Well, like the way that it kind of got.
Yeah, no, I get you. Yeah.
They meaning the government.
The I don't know. Lizard people.
Who knows?
Whatever. So, yes?
Yeah. But anyway,
Yes.
so this guy
you're
was
sitting up. It frightened me. We have been lying down.
My
Now
back
it's
hurt.
suddenly okay.
This guy decides he's going to be the early bird instead of the second mouse, and ends up
He
sinking
gets
into the fucking earth.
absolutely fucking annihilated.
Like what's his face in Neverending Story? What's that
The
horse's
horse,
name?
Artem or
Artax.
whatever. Yeah, Artax. What is Artem?
Was I don't know, but that is something. But that traumatized me so much as a kid.
Yeah, I hear traumatized everybody. I've seen robust discussions on the internet because Neverending Story, I guess, is a German book.
Oh.
And a lot of people, shout out to Anna, who read the book first, despise the movie.
Really?
Despise the movie.
Why?
I don't know.
Huh.
But a lot of people loathe the film who read the book first.
I don't really remember much about the film.
I have never seen
the
the
horse
film.
sinking
That is
into
what
the bog.
everybody knows from the film.
That
the
is
horse
the thing
sinking.
I remember happening
Isn't
because I
there
was
like
at
a giant
summer camp.
dragon, like a really long dragon?
Yeah, I remember the dragon too.
Yeah.
But I remember it was at summer camp and somebody put on Neverending Story and I hadn't seen it and I cried.
Yeah, well, the horse, and by the way, there is a rumor that is false that the horse that they filmed with actually died.
No.
That is false.
No, there's no way.
Yeah, that is false.
The only movie that I can think of in which actual horses did die was, I believe, Ben-Hur.
Didn't Apocalypse Now blow up cows? Like, I'm almost certain Apocalypse Now also
believe
killed
that
animals.
like it was Apocalypse Now and Ben-Hur did have actual animal deaths happen, but nowadays, like from I feel like the 80s on for sure, like animal welfare groups are so involved in that stuff that the animals are often safer than the fucking people on set.
So this peddler has a bad day, and the whole town starts sinking.
Which I stand by,
and
by
everybody
the way.
freaks out. And Matt's like, well, that guy's fucked. And the guy is like, well, this sucks. And then he melts into the ocean. Not the ocean. He melts into the ground. He hops off his horses, who are sinking. He lurched awkwardly and looked down toward his feet. His hat fell from his hand, landing on the hard-packed road. That was when he began screaming. The paving stones were gone, and he was ankle-deep in the road, just like his shrieking horses, ankle-deep and sinking into rock-hard clay as if into a bog, just like his horses and his wagon, and the village, houses, and people melting slowly into the ground. The people never stopped what they were doing. Women walked along carrying baskets. A line of men carried a large timber on their shoulders. Children darted about. The fellow at the grindstone continued sharpening his hatchet, all of them nearly knee-deep in the ground by this time.
So is the implication that like this whole town at some point died?
It's ghosts.
So the answer is just
the answer
ghosts.
is just like it's ghosts. I don't think the implication is that the village spontaneously died. I think the
Was, like,
implication
sacked.
is, yeah, I think because like I feel like if he were doing that, he would have the ghost version of the village's Bane show up.
Yeah.
Like
And that
Trollocs
would be why
or
it sunk into the
Raiders,
earth or whatever.
yeah, or like I don't know, the lava flow or whatever. But because everybody just kind of cares about their business, I think the implication here is it's just like ghosts. Yeah, it's a bubble of evil and it's a creepy one.
So I've been saying, I was like, oh, these ghosts are not that scary.
This one?
This
yeah.
is actually freaking
Robert Jordan
terrifying.
said, all right, bet.
Yeah. I kind of hope we see this scene in the show.
I love this
Or
scene.
some kind of like iteration of this scene.
It's very creepy, and this dude sinks. He could not tear his eyes away. The sinking peddler shrieked loudly enough to be heard over the screaming of his team. "Help me!" he cried, waving his arms.
My feeling, though, is having seen a billion, quicksand movies, could someone not have handed him a branch?
He's too far in.
Could the Aes Sedai have not tried to do
Yes,
something?
they probably could have. I assume that they are all freaking out, too. But yes.
I mean, sure.
But
their whole thing is don't freak out under pressure.
You're 100% correct that the Aes Sedai could have, however, again, remember...
Granted, we might not be able to see that they were helping.
Shan.
Oh, true.
Yeah. And they're incognito right now.
True. Still, I was like, no one's going to try to help?
I believe the concern here is that if they tried to help, because everybody is watching this peddler sink, everybody would know, we have an Aes Sedai with us.
Well, yeah. Sure.
And it only takes one person who doesn't like Aes Sedai that much.
True.
To fuck the group.
True. What a shitty situation.
Yeah, it sucks. And the man just, sinks and sinks and sinks. Matt kept waiting for him to die. Hoping for him to die. Surely that was better than the other. But the man kept on screaming as he sank to his waist, to his chest. Desperately, he tipped back his head like a man being pulled underwater, sucking for one last breath. Then his head vanished, and just his arms remained, frantically waving until they, too, were gone. Only his hat, lying on the road, said there had ever been a man there. I do think it's really funny that his hat didn't sink. It's also really creepy.
It's horrible.
But when you think about it, it's a little funny.
It can be both.
It can be both.
I feel like this is Jim at his, best war trauma.
Yeah, this is good.
Not that is a positive thing. I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
No, of course not.
But, we all have our things that we contribute to our storytelling. No one goes through life completely unscathed, especially, I feel like, writers, because writers, I think, a lot of the time, by nature, have to be pretty empathetic or with it, or at least have experienced a lot of things. I feel like this feels very, the feeling of somebody being slowly killed and not being able to do anything about it.
Yeah.
Feels very that.
Yeah, a little creepy. So...
wow, Robert. Pop off in this chapter, though.
It's a good chapter.
It's a really good freaking chapter.
It's good.
I've been waiting for this energy from Jim for a second. You know what I mean?
He had to perambulate.
Because we know that Jim is capable of
great.
This kind of...
That's the thing.
Fucking slap.
Yes. That's, I believe we've said before, that is why, generally speaking, we both of us have been frustrated in some other sections because it's but we know what you can do.
We know what you can do.
You're fucking good.
Doing it today. And he showed up ready to write today. Yeah. And I'm really yes, more of this.
So everybody
But also not more of this because it was horrible, emotionally. But I was make us go through it, Robert. Damn. Sorry, I interrupted you.
You're fine. So there's 5 pages of people not really knowing how to proceed. Mm-hmm. And not wanting to go this way, not wanting to go that way. Tom is I think we might be splitting up, leaving the circus. But then Val and Lucas spend several pages proclaiming how exciting it'll be to go a different direction, go to Lugard. And it's, it's 4.5 pages of him talking up Lugard and being boisterous and being a good public speaker.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on... I don't really have anything to say about that. That's kind of a transitional thing.
Val and Luca has been kind of goofy up until this point, so it was good to see him do how you see when you see people in their element and you really kind of go, oh yeah, wow, that's what you're really able to do.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice to see him in his element.
Yep.
And kind of go, okay, this is who you are at your best.
Oh, wait a minute. Then he goes, and we're going to go to Tar Valon. He says, from there... Wait, he was he Zap Brannigan? He was Zap Brannigan.
Oh, yeah.
From there to Tar Valon itself, I will hire ships to carry us all. Such crowds will come in Tar Valon that we could spend the rest of our lives in that vast city splendor where Ogier built shops seem like palaces. And palaces...
Palaces?
Yeah, I know, whatever.
I love it. No.
And palaces are beyond description. Rulers, seeing Tar Valon for the first time, weep that their cities are villages, and their own palaces no more than peasants' huts. The White Tower itself is in Tar Valon, remember, the greatest structure in the world. The Amerlin seat herself will ask us to perform before her.
Oh.
We have given shelter. Now, here's the thing. Remember what I just said about...
Elida sucks.
Remember what I just said about how they probably didn't do the thing because they didn't want to announce that there were Aes Sedai. I'd forgotten that apparently everybody knows. We have given shelter.
Do?
We have given shelter to 3 Aes Sedai in need, who can believe they will do other than speak for us with the Amerlin seat.
I needed to see a little more energy from the 3 of them while this peddler was sinking. I just needed to see a little more trying to help.
I don't know.
Couldn't have had him stand on air?
You probably could have pulled... I don't know, maybe they tried and didn't work.
Maybe. But Matt's little fox thing didn't go off. But I guess that's only when they're channeling at him.
And Matt and Tom bet Matt that Val and Luca would be able to rally the troops, basically, and Matt disagreed and Matt lost.
I believe that Tom would know what a natural performer was, though. Yeah. I believe that. I believe that Tom was like, no, as much as Val and Luca is a clown, there are some people where, they really have that charisma, no matter how clownish they may seem.
Yeah.
They have that charisma. They have that natural showmanship. And I feel like game recognizes game. And I feel like Tom would see a natural performer. Mm-hmm. And it's as dumb as he seems, being smart and being a great performer do not necessarily
go hand in hand.
Go hand in hand, yeah. Because smart and charisma God does not always give with both hands.
They're different modifiers in D&D.
Yeah, they're different modifiers. And I feel like Val and Luca rolled high on charisma and maybe low on intelligence.
Speaking of rolling, you're going to roll on into these ads. Welcome back. By the way, Al, you know what this episode is? This is our 200th main Wheel of Time series episode.
Oh my god!
This is not a thing that is tracked anywhere except my files.
Except your heart.
And my heart. But yeah, this is our 200th Wheel of Time book episode, not counting the Eye of the World ones.
That's crazy.
We are 67% of the way through the series, according to the ebook right now, including New Spring. So
I feel like we blinked and 4 years passed on this podcast.
Well, there are a few things happened in the world. But yes.
Yeah.
And
in our lives.
And it's episode 200. Guess what episode 100 was?
What?
Igloo sex.
You know what? I could not think of two better ways to ring in 100 and 200.
Now, what I think is bizarre is that the halfway point in episodes between starting the podcast and now was the Far Snows.
Wow.
That was the halfway point from beginning to now of episodes. But
that was
Far
3
Snows
years ago.
Was 3 years ago, just about. And we started the podcast
4 years ago.
4.5 years ago. Not even. 4 years and 3 months ago. But we didn't regularly upload until March of 2020 when, I don't know, we suddenly had more time.
I don't know what happened.
Which just the fact that I think back sometimes to dropping 5 episodes a week. Remember that shit?
Yeah.
That skewed our metrics so much because we just ripped through the first 3-4 books. I mean, the first book doesn't even count.
Yeah, no.
Really, the way we did. We were going to release an Eye of the World episode last week, but then Mold-geddon happened.
That was an act of God. God doesn't want the Eye of the World episodes
Apparently
to happen.
Not. It's cursed. Every time we go to do it, something happens. Many of you kind people have reached out and said, I can't wait until you pick up Eye of the World. I want to as well. Unfortunately, nature appears to disagree. Anyway, back to the book. Matt didn't want to go to Tar Valon particularly much.
When does Matt ever want to go to Tar Valon?
Yeah.
Never.
He's also Tuon's not going to want to go to Tar Valon. That's going to be kind of awkward.
I kind of want Tuon to go to Tar Valon and get her ass kicked, but also Elida's there. Also, I feel like it'd be a bad idea for Matt to go to Tarvalin because of Elida, because she knows that he's Rand's friend.
And Tuon goes, I will see Tarvalin one day. I shall probably make it my capital.
Oh my god, I hate her.
I shall have you show me the city tour. You have been there.
I hate her.
Matt goes, light. She was a tough little woman. Gorgeous.
I don't know if that's the word I would use.
Gorgeous.
Like, I would use tough to describe, like, a single mom who works 2 jobs. Like, I would not describe Tuon as tough.
Gorgeous,
bigoted,
but definitely tough as nails.
I would go, no, tough as nails feels like a compliment.
I know.
Tough as nails is like, I turned to Gus and I was like, I clapped by accident, I'm sorry. Tough as nails is like, I turned to Gus during the pandemic. I was like, I want one day to be proud of how I behaved during this time.
Yeah.
You know, and I want you to be able to say to like our children, if we have them, like, your mom was so tough during this time.
Yeah.
This is different.
This is different.
This is like actively bad.
It's not great.
Like, she's like fantasizing about enslaving an entire city of people and
yeah.
Okay, fine, an entire tower of thousands of people. Yes. And then also subjugating and colonizing an entire city of people.
Continent. Really an entire continent.
And then making it her capital.
Yeah.
I think, personally, that is bad. And I will die on that hill.
So Matt is like, all right, fuck it. I'm going to ride across the death field.
Like, there's just no introspection from her.
Not yet.
It's... Okay, I hope so.
Maybe there will be.
But we're doing the, like, can you feel the love tonight? We're doing the enemies to lovers all wrong, because the enemies to lovers, like, I mean, ideally you don't have to change, right? Or you can like both mutually be changed by each other, but not in a way that like fundamentally changes who you are as a person. Maybe just like new information or whatever. But like, I think ideally like the change kind of starts before the love.
Or at least, you know, because it seems like Matt is changing for her more than she is changing for him.
I think that's what's bothering me too. Is I'm like, if there's anyone who needs to change,
it's the slaving empress.
That lady.
Yeah. So they hop on over, and that night she's like, "Hey, idiot, don't you know that the dead walking means Tarmangaiden is coming?"
It'd be like if Nala showed up. Right? And she's Team Scar. And then we're like, can you feel... It's like, it's a little... It's off. It's off. It's not... Like, I don't... Like, I'm like, stop with the chorus. Stop with the chorus. Excuse me. I think we missed a crucial step here.
So everybody's drinking that night because they trauma and all that. And, you know, whatever. And they're playing... Matt and Joylin and Amathera and Ulver and Tom and Noel are all playing games and hanging out.
And I love that they're like, Amathera is just traumatized by her time with the Ch10. And Matt's like, that sucks. I'm going to go give the woman directly responsible for your trauma a horse as a love present. Can you feel it? Like, I don't feel it. I'm not feeling it, Rob. Like, maybe there's time, but we're going to have to put in work.
So they're all playing games. Matt just decides Amathera was a shit panarch for some reason.
Well, I guess he's got to side with his boo thing. I don't know. Like, okay.
Noel nattered on with his stories, but then he spun those tales even while playing, and talking seemed to have no effect on his skill at stones, and Tom sat reading the letter Matt had brought him what seemed a very long time ago.
But also, Robert has never done anything wrong in his life.
The page was heavily creased from being carried in Tom's coat pocket, and much smudged from being read and reread. He had said it was from a dead woman.
No.
And then Domon and Egyanin duck in. And
I also feel like he did not set up the conditions by which Matt would ask him about something. Like,
well, he just pulls the letter out. I think he should
have looked at it and been like, hee, like acted like it was a nude.
Yeah. That would have worked on Matt. What's
Exactly.
up? What's up with that? What you got? Let me see it. Come on.
That would have been so fast. So fast. He would have asked books ago.
So Egyanin and Domon come in. As soon as Egyanin entered, Amathera, who was on the ground cloth with Ulver, curled herself into a ball on her knees. Joylin sighed and got up from the stool across the table from Matt, but Egyanin reached the other woman first. There's no need for that, with me or anyone else. You look me in the eyes. You look everyone in the eyes. The Terrorboner woman clicked her tongue to her lips nervously, but she did keep staring straight at Egyanin's face when the hand was removed from her chin. Thoughts on this?
The Ch10 are bad. This is the kind of effort, though, that I need to be seeing from Tuon. Like,
Yeah.
I like Eggionin. I stan Eggionin because Eggionin has done the work. Like, if Matt was like, I'm in love with Eggionin, I mean, Baildom on a side, I would have been like, yeah, all right, I see it. I see the path.
This is why I love Eggionin and Leelwyn, whatever, so fucking much in this moment, is because, like, yeah,
That's
she
what I
is
needed.
doing deprogramming.
That's what I see. She is deprogramming, and I like see that in her. I see that effort, because this is the thing. Like, you can't necessarily help where you're from,
No.
right? And what you were raised to believe. You can't necessarily help that. Like,
No.
you are a child. You are sponging. You believe that the adults in your life know what the world is and how it works and like how it needs to work. So you just take everything at face value. And then hopefully, as you mature and age and are presented with new and different information, you get to make choices about like what makes sense. Right. And that's the part where you are responsible. Right. You get to decide who you become. You don't necessarily get to decide who you were all the time. Right. And so I feel very passionately about this because deprogramming in this way is really hard.
It's extremely
work.
hard.
It's really hard work because it's acknowledging that everything that you have been told in your life is a lie. And like, there is an enormous risk to being able to doing the right thing and pursuing being good. I mean, you know, like for people who were not raised in an environment where like that was acceptable, that's basically being like, fuck my family, fuck my friends. I'm going to go completely into the unknown and do something different.
In Leelwyn's case, fuck my people.
My entire people.
Yeah.
And like, listen, we were talking about this last night that like, you know, when you're acting out divorce scenes, right? That like, there has to be that element of like, there was once something good here.
Yeah.
There are good memories that we share together. It can't all just be attacking each other. It can't all just be bad. Like, there was love here.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, if you are a part of a people's, there is definitely, not to get into nuance about slavers, because obviously we're not doing that. But like, when you are deprogramming from something toxic, if it were purely toxic, you would have gone
leave
much earlier.
Yeah, it'd be easy.
It's like there are always like difficult things about leaving behind a toxic situation, right? There are always like some good memories, some like positive associations, like friendships, all that stuff. And to be able to go...
Eggionin had ships, she had status, she had everything she wanted. She was going down all these paths and doing everything right.
And to go and to eschew all of that and say, like, that's not who I want to be.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's really hard.
That's why I like this character.
And that's why I feel like Eggionin, I fuck with Eggionin. I think she's awesome. We can ride together and share the weird beliefs that we once had that we no longer have anymore. Where we're like, oh fuck, I no longer identify with that person at all. Holy shit. But like, yeah, so I appreciate Eggionin.
She's good people.
And I
Leo
just
and whichever name you want to give her.
And in this place, I'd be like, can you feel the love?
Well, she does
tonight?
with Delmon because she took that cultural stigma. Remember that was at the beginning of, I think, this book, where she was like, you understand, I can never marry you because you were property once.
And
you
she did anyway.
That? And then she got busted down to being Leelwyn. She was like, fuck all this. This is dumb as hell. Fuck it.
I mean, ideally, she would have said fuck it before.
Yeah, but it's kind of thing where...
Yeah.
In a video game I'm playing, I'm going to be vague, there's a character who is very, very vigorously in defense of their people's particular mission, I guess. And at a point early in the game, they are presented with pretty incontrovertible evidence that mission is a lie and bad.
Yeah.
And it takes another 2 hours ish of gameplay and a lot of branching paths that you have to finagle very carefully to reach a point where they're like, maybe this is bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think people...
I'm playing a lot of video games. It's not just Baldur's Gate, so don't think you know what I'm talking about.
I think
could be any number of games.
But I think that's kind of great that they didn't make her do a immediate about face, because the proliferation of information in your brain and like deprogramming takes time.
A long time.
And I think we want to think that like and I think media is partially responsible for this, that like it does to have like this one eureka moment and all of a sudden you're like, I'm done with this. And sometimes that does happen.
Can happen.
That does happen. But I think for the average bear, right? The average person walking around, they have to sit with it for a second. Like they can't just cast off everything that they are with one sentence, with one piece of information. It's like, I've got to like evaluate how that information then feeds into everything else that I once knew about myself.
Yeah.
Because what you're doing is you're unraveling your entire existence.
Yeah. And I think this, I mean, what you're getting at here is that Tuan doesn't have to change immediately, but you're frustrated that she has shown zero of this.
Yeah.
Right? It's not that you're asking for Tuan to spend 5 minutes with an Aes Sedai and go, I was wrong about everything. What is frustrating you about Tuan is that she is being presented with a lot of evidence that her shit stinks too. Mm-hmm. And she's going, no, it doesn't.
And none of it seems to be bothering her. Like, this is the thing. Even if she just had like a pause, like a second of like, but no. You know what I mean? Like, just to see that information land.
It's also not to say that Tuan has to do that to be an interesting character.
No, yeah. I just don't like her for Matt.
No, certainly. Because I also, I'm not going to say where anything goes, but I think another thing that would be really interesting to do with a character like this is to have a moment where they go, no, I understand all of this. I understand that, you know, this approach is bad and this society is bad and the things we are doing are bad. However, it benefits me, or, you know, however, I don't care. I think it'd be really interesting to read that character.
You know, it's funny because, yeah, I mean, I think that is very true for a lot of people. So like, yeah, I mean, I think I don't know where Robert Jordan is going with Tuan, mm-hmm. right? Obviously, because I'm unspoiled. It could be that she has an eggy on and about face. It could be that she just becomes a very interesting villain, right? Or a complex villain. If the point is that I am rooting for Matt and Tuan as a couple.
Yeah. Well,
I am not currently doing
No, I am not either.
But if that is not the point, which I'm open to, right? Just because you marry someone doesn't mean that you're a good couple.
No.
If the point is something different, I am open to that. But my other point of nervousness, I think, is that like we are hopefully, when we are wrapping this all up, ending on and now we have like a new age of legends or whatever, where like,
not to say that everything has to be solved, but at least that things are pointing
up,
broadly up.
Yeah.
Right? Is what you're looking for.
And I just don't feel like having a slaving empire is pointing up. So I'm like, I do think we need to start to see some level of like introspection on Tuan's part of like, maybe I am.
That's the other, not to interrupt.
Bad guy.
You're
good.
The frustrating thing, the most frustrating thing, I think, about the character. And I know we're going to talk about Moiraine. We're going to.
Believe me, we're going to talk about it.
The frustrating thing I think about Tuan right now is that she has neither committed to her ideology, understanding the problem, nor has she had any growth. She's in the frustrating middle ground of being deliberately contradictory about her own ideology while committing to her own ideology.
Yeah, she's being like deliberately obtuse.
Yeah, she said like the difference between me and the Damane is that I choose not to channel. But like that has never actually been a problem for Damane because they leash Damane based on the ability.
See, and I kind of feel like that would be me as a bisexual, being like, I don't care about like other LGBTQ plus people because I get to choose whether or not I'm with a man or a woman,
right, or
a non-binary person, and I think that's like a load of horse shit.
Yeah, I think Tuan is an enormous hypocrite.
Yeah.
Huge. Especially because, like, she can almost certainly see the weaves.
That's not me saying that bisexuals get to choose that they're attracted to men and women.
No, of course not. No.
Like, they get to choose, and I'm really pansexual, but I don't want to explain what that is to my mother.
You're generalizing.
The longer I have to explain my sexuality to my parents, the more I want to die.
Understand.
So, I feel like, but there is a like level of like straight passing that I, in a straight passing relationship, get to do that I'm like, I feel even more like I need to be vocal about these issues because I'm like, I get the privilege of getting to, when things are hard, potentially hide behind my straight passing relationship. And I'm like, well, that's a load of fucking crap. Like, that doesn't get to happen. Like, just because I don't want a free pass. You know what I mean? I don't want things to be easy when other people have it hard.
So Joylin watches this happen and goes, this is a change. You've called me a thief for freeing her. And Domon goes, all things change given time. Why, you to be looking at an honest man, Master Thief Catcher. Lyelwyn did make me promise to give up smuggling before she would agree to marry me. Fortune prick me, who did ever hear of a woman refusing to marry a man unless he did give up a lucrative trade? And then she's like, you are actually gonna be done smuggling, though. I'm not into that shit. I'm lawful good now. Always have been.
I mean, I think this is one of those. So I was having a conversation with somebody recently where they were like, the enemies to lovers trope can be problematic in some ways because there's the like, your partner
Everything
should
can
change
be
for you.
problematic.
Yes, exactly. But there was a discussion as to like how to do enemies to lovers well. I think that I'm cool with the ways in which Eggy, because I do think to be loved is to be changed.
Yeah.
Right. I do believe that, even though it's kind of like a trend on TikTok to do that whole thing. I do think that to be loved is to be changed. So like, yeah, I don't think it's unrealistic to see people change a little bit for each other or like have people influence them. But I also think that there's like a certain extent to which you're like, well, if they're basically throwing everything out the window, like their entire identity as a person out the window, that's a problem, especially like the message that it sends to women.
Oh, yeah, I understand.
Where it's like, become bad Sandy. Does that make sense? Have you seen Grease?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Where like Sandy just changes everything about herself for a man.
For the purpose of fitting into the group and the man, yes. I think the thing about Domon Agianan is she's like, you need to stop doing crime if you want to get together. You can still be a ship's captain, but you have to stop doing crime.
I think what I was trying to say, and I don't think I made clear, is like, to me, they're changing each other for the positive.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
You know what I mean? It's not like I'm going to throw my whole personality away for this person and like try to fit into their lifestyle. It's like Agiana was already changing before she met Bail Domon in terms of her attitude because she had met Elaine and Egwene, or Elaine and Nynaeve.
Elaine and Nynaeve.
So she was already kind of changing in regards to her culture. And Bail has always kind of seemed like a reluctant smuggler to me. He never seemed like he was like super into that game.
He's a smuggler with a heart of gold, right? Like he I feel like at one point he was doing something really cool in Tanchico. I think he was like smuggling. He had soup kitchens. That was it. He had the bunch of soup kitchens.
So I don't feel like this is, you know, her being like, you have to give up something that really matters to you. I think he was kind of looking at that as like a means to an end.
Yeah.
But never being like, smuggling's who I am.
No. He smuggled because it was an easy way. I mean, really, it was mostly tax evasion. Like, I don't think he was a gun runner. I feel like he was a curio collector who also was like, it's kind of fucked up that I have to. He's a libertarian. He's Robert Jordan. He's like, it's fucked up that I have to pay these goddamn taxes on my things. I want to be able to sell my food to people for $1.
Yeah.
No regulations, and it's full of mold. I'm being hyperbolic. Anyway, speaking of mold, it's time for us to remember the mold in a moment of silence while you listen to some ads. Welcome, mold. All right. Agiana, all this, love her, love Lyelwyn, etc.
I'm glad we decided to just do this chapter because
it's a good
there's
chapter,
so much
man.
to unpack.
It's a good fucking chapter. So Noel starts telling stories about the sea folk women.
Totally not Jane Farstrader.
And and he forgets he's talking to a 10-year-old, and he almost talks about how they have their boobies out all the time, and he has to frantically backpedal.
They're just bags of fat. What is the big deal? I don't know. I think it's funny sometimes that violence, all right, that's fine for kids, but a boobie,
God forbid. So, they finish a game of stones. The dice are going off. And Matt goes, "Another game, Tom?" The white-haired man looked up from his letter. "I think not, Matt. My mind's in a maze tonight." If you don't mind my asking, Tom, why do you read that letter the way you do? I mean, sometimes your face looks like you're trying to puzzle out what it means. That's because I am, in a way. Here. He held out the letter, but Matt shook his head. "It's no business of mine, Tom. It's your letter, and I'm no good with puzzles." "Oh, it's your business, too. Warren wrote it just before... Well, anyway, she wrote it." Matt stared at him.
He did all but tell him. He did all but tell him. He's basically "Hey, there's this letter."
Well, no, Matt has already asked about it.
Yeah. But he's "Finally, my God."
Matt stared at him for a long moment before taking the creased page, and when his eyes fell on the smudged ink, he blinked. Small, precise writing covered the sheet, but it began, "My dearest Tom."
Of course, Maureen has good handwriting. She's good at everything.
Who would have thought Maureen,
Can't relate.
of all people, would address old Tom Maryland so? "Tom, this is personal. I don't think I should..." "Read," Tom cut in. "You'll see."
"My dearest Tom."
Matt drew a deep breath. A letter from a dead Aes Sedai that was a puzzle.
Can't believe I got that one.
In some way. Allie fucking called how it started 2.5. I have the clip. I will insert it here.
Oh, Maureen's letter to Tom.
Yes,
it's here.
there it is.
It's here.
What do you
We're
think?
doing it. We're doing it. It's here.
Rand gave it to Matt to give to Tom. Do you think Tom's just gonna bust it open and read it out loud?
God, I hope so.
That'd be cool. How's it start?
It's not gonna happen. No.
How's it start?
"My dearest Tom."
Okay.
Smooches. Is that it?
"My dearest Tom smooches."
Smooches.
I mean, read and find out, I guess.
"My dearest Tom, I've always loved you. You are..." Oh, no. Here's how it starts. Okay, ready? "Hey, sexy." What that mustache do?
Free mustache rides. Yeah, I regret it.
You must be this short to ride.
Yeah. That is from an episode 2.5 years ago? Mm-hmm. What the fuck?
I don't know. It seemed like something classy she'd say.
Yeah. He wanted nothing less than to read the thing, but he began anyway. It was near enough to make his hair stand on end. "My dearest Tom, there are many words I would like to write to you, words from my heart, but I have put this off because I knew that I must, and now there is little time.
Now, here's the thing.
There are many things I cannot tell you lest I bring disaster, but what I can, I will. Heed carefully what I say. In a short while I will go down to the docks, and there I will confront Lanfear. How can I know that? That secret belongs to others.
It's Radian.
Suffice it that I know, and let that foreknowledge stand as proof for the rest of what I say. When you receive this, you will be told that I am dead.
Nah.
All will believe that.
Not me.
Except Allie. I am not dead, and it may be that I shall live to my appointed years.
I am not yet dead.
It may also be that you and Matt Coffin and another, a man I do not know,
It's Jane Farstrader.
will try to rescue me.
I already know.
May, I say, because it may be that you will not.
They will.
Or cannot.
Come on.
Or because Matt may refuse.
No, if he refuses, he's dead to me.
He does not hold me in the affection you seem to, and he has his reasons, which he no doubt thinks are good. If you try...
That's a diss.
It must be only you and Matt and one other. More will mean death for all. Fewer will mean death for all. Even if you come only with Matt and one other, death also may come. I have seen you try and die, one or two or all three. I have seen myself die in the attempt. I have seen all of us live and die as captives.
Okay, but they're gonna all live.
Should you decide to make the attempt anyway, young Matt knows the way to find me. Yet you must not show him this letter until he asks about it. That is of the utmost importance. He must know nothing that is in this letter until he asks. Events must play out in certain ways, whatever the costs.
Okay.
If you see Lan again, tell him that all of this is for the best. His destiny follows a different path from mine. I wish him all happiness with Nynaeve.
Oh.
A final point. Remember what you know about the game of snakes and foxes.
I knew it. 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 I knew it.
Remember
Knew it.
and heed.
And we saw Noel playing snakes and foxes with Oliver.
It is time, and I must do what must be done. May the light illumine you and give you joy, my dearest Tom, whether or not we ever see one another again. Moiraine.
Okay. I remember where I was when I came up with the fact with how I think this is going to go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I think it's going to be Jane Farstrider because courage to strengthen. Then it's iron to bind. That's Matt with the Ashandarai, which I think he's going to carve into the Tower of Genji to like open a door.
We'll keep reading this chapter.
Okay. And then music to dazzle is Tom because he plays music. Mm-hmm. And fire to blind is Moiraine because she entered with fire.
So notably, the thing about what you said about using the Ashandarai, later this chapter, we learn that you can get into the Tower of Genji by carving the snakes and foxes symbol with a brass knife or a bronze knife, not with whatever the Ashandarai is.
Iron?
I assume it's iron.
Damn it.
Perhaps. Or
Still,
it might be something else.
Still. Then I'm pretty damn close. So, I think.
Right.
But yeah, I think.
I mean, he's presumably going to take the Ashandarai, brings it everywhere.
Yeah, but
So
they're not
you'll
allowed
have
to have iron.
No, you're not.
Oh, iron, fire, or music.
Yeah.
Because I think they have some kind of prophecy about this happening.
Well, and also they're the Fae. I mean, they're fairies.
Yeah.
And the Fae always hate iron music and fire sometimes.
But I also said, remember, I also said
Yes.
that I thought that the Snakes and Foxes game was
You have been saying that for quite. Do you remember how the game works?
It's like a circle, right? They're like, and the snakes and the foxes are like chasing you.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, it's
like impossible to win.
It's a PvE game, so it's co-op, yes. And the point of the game, you have to go from the outside of the circle into the middle, and then get back out to the outside.
Yeah, but
if you get caught by a snake or a fox, you lose basically.
Yeah, but Matt said that it feels impossible to win as a co-op with two.
It feels
he said like I wish that there were I think it would be more possible with 3 players, and to win you have to cheat.
To win you do have to cheat. I don't remember anything about 3 players.
I seem to recall him saying something about like it's not fair to have it with 2. It doesn't make it makes the game way too hard. It should be done with 3.
I don't remember this, but I trust you.
Which is why I came up with them because at first I thought the third was Moiraine, and then I was like, no, the third is another person because of the courage thing. So it's got to be another person. And I was like, okay, well, who's a really courageous person? I remember because I was bathing Schooner.
Oh,
this is how long ago that was. I was bathing Schooner and thinking a bunch because, like, you know, I had all this free. What am I going to do? Be on my phone? So I'm like sitting there thinking about this and noodling over it because it was bothering me. And then I was like, oh, what if the courage thing is a thing? And so then I was like, okay, well, I have to think about all these courageous people. And I always said that Matt and Jane Farstrider are going to have to team up because Matt's never read his book and he's the only one.
And you know that Noel is his cousin. So...
Oh, stop it.
So
no, he isn't. He's the old man in Grendel's room who is also Jane Farstrider.
Oh, okay.
Who for some reason has been sent there or released or got out.
Could be.
Because that old man was miserable in Grendel's room. And she has established that she only picks the hottest people to be her nubile,
by and large,
mind-melted zombies.
Well, the old man notably was not
happy.
Was not hot. Was not brain broken.
Yes, because he's not happy.
He seemed weirdly cogent.
Yes, that's him.
Okay.
She had him as a collector's item, or Ashamael sent him to Grendel. to be kept under her control.
So Matt is like, well, no, man. I mean, this can't be right. She's dead.
No. Don't be silly.
And her letter says everyone would believe that. She knew, Matt. She knew it all in advance. That's as may be,
Yeah,
but...
explain that.
Moiraine and Lanfear went into that doorframe, Terangrial, and it melted.
There was no body.
The thing was redstone, or looked to be. Stone, Tom. Yet it melted like wax. I saw it. She went to wherever the eelfin are. And even if she is alive, there's no way for us to get there now.
Okay, snakes and foxes.
The Tower of Genji, Oliver piped up. And all three adults turned their heads to stare at him. Brigitte told me.
And I said it was going to be the Tower of Genji,
he said defensively. The Tower of Genji is the way to the lands of the Aelfin and the Eelfin. He made the gesture that began the game of snakes and foxes, a triangle drawn in the air and then a wavy line through it.
Oh my god.
She knows even more stories than you, Master Charon.
That wouldn't be Brigitte Silverbow, would it?
Noel said wryly.
Do you know her?
The boy gave him a level look. I'm not an infant, Master Charon, but she is very good with a bow, so maybe she is. Brigitte born again, I mean. I don't think there's any chance of that, Matt said. I've talked with her too, and the last thing she wants is to be any kind of hero.
You would know about that.
Well, he also knows she is Brigitte, pulled from the thing.
Yeah, he's just trying to cover those tracks.
In any case, knowing about this tower doesn't help much unless she told you where it is. Oliver shook his head
You
sadly,
know where it is.
And Matt bent to ruffle his hair.
We've seen it.
I'm sorry for reading
With
almost
Bail
all of
Domon.
this, but it's great.
Ask Bail Domon.
Not your fault, boy. Without you, he wouldn't even know it exists.
The Tower of Genji,
Noel said, sitting up cross-legged and tugging his coat straight.
Not many know that tale anymore. Jane always said he'd go looking for it one day. Somewhere along the Shadow Coast, he said.
That's still a lot of ground to search.
Jane's gonna find it.
It could take years. Tom shook his head. She says you know, Matt. Matt knows the way to find me. I doubt very much she'd have written that on a whim.
It's that weird dark tower.
Well, I can't help what she says, now can I? I've never heard of any Tower of Genji until tonight.
But you saw a weird tower.
A pity.
Bill sighed.
I'd like to have seen it. Something Jane Bloody Farstrider never did. You might as well get over, he said when Tom opened his mouth. He wouldn't forget seeing it. And even if he never heard the name, he'd have to think of it when he heard of a strange tower that lets people into other lands.
You would think.
The thing gleams like burnished steel, I'm told. 200 feet high and 40 thick.
This is exactly the tower we saw.
And there's not an opening to be found in it. Who could forget seeing that?
Matt went very still.
Oh, they took it out of his head. The memory.
Wait a minute. Matt went, you read this. You remember what happens.
I know, but I'm just saying.
His black scarf felt too tight against his hanging scar. If there's no opening, how do we get in? Brigitte says you make the sign on the side of it anywhere with a bronze knife. He made the sign that started the game. She says it has to be a bronze knife. Make the sign, and a door opens.
What else did she tell you about...
Doesn't iron become bronze? Isn't that a thing?
No.
Or bronze becomes iron?
What is bronze? Bronze is a metal... You're thinking of brass, and brass is an alloy of tin and copper. Bronze... What is bronze? I don't think it's an alloy of metal. Of iron, I mean. Oh, copper, tin, sometimes aluminum, manganese, nickel, or zinc.
Yeah, I knew that there was some...
But not... Oh, wow, brass is also an alloy of copper and zinc. So they're both alloys of copper and... Oh, brass is copper and zinc, bronze is copper and tin, did I say?
Yeah.
Okay.
What ails you, Matt? You look about to sick up.
What ailed him was his memory, and not the other men's memories.
The Aelfin.
Those had been stuffed into him to fill holes in his own memories, which they did, and more, or so it seemed.
I don't need to hear about things stuffing
in Matt's holes. You call Master the Deck for that. I think I know where that tower is, Tom. Rather, Domon knows, but I can't go with you. The Eelfin will know I'm coming. Maybe the Aelfin, too. Burn me, they might already know about this letter because I read it. They might know every word we've said. You can't trust them. They'll take advantage if they can, and if they know you're coming, they'll be planning to do just that. They'll skin you and make harnesses for themselves from your hide.
So do you think that they... First of all, kinky. Second of all... Do you think that they know? Do you think that they're in his head? Or did they just give him memories?
Matt thinks they're in his head. Do you remember why Matt thinks they're in his head?
No.
He has memories of dying. and dead men cannot have gone back to Genji after they died to deposit their memories. So he is assuming that the Finn have a direct download from his brain.
Oh.
Now, the only evidence he has of that is the fact that he has all of these memories of people who clearly died before going into Genji at least for a second time, but maybe they went once before?
So how do you get them out of your head?
Great question. Or are they there in the first place?
Are they in your eyeball?
That would be interesting.
Is that why he has to give up half the light of the world to save the world?
That would be interesting.
Does he have to give up his eye?
We'll have to read and find out.
Which eye? Is it the left one? Does he get to pick which one? That's why he loses an eye, isn't it?
You're going to have to read and find out.
How do they get in his eye?
That all has to stay inside this tent. I said I have enough he shows them the scar and everything. I said I have enough reasons already to want to put their hands on me. If they find out about those memories, I'll never be free of them. Oh yeah, he gives them the does he give them the rundown?
He's got to give up his eye.
He gives them the full rundown.
That's why. That's why. Because if they caught him, he'd be dead, according to the game.
And Noel,
now, why does he have to give up his eye?
Noel goes, "Are you any relation to Jane?" Noel raised his hands in a placating gesture.
Matt's like, I wouldn't know. I've never read the book.
Peace, man, I believe you. It's just, that tops anything I ever did. Anything Jane ever did, too. Would you mind if I made the third? I can be handy in tight spots, you know?
And that's the courage part, too, is he volunteers.
And Matt is like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? You want to go in there? Like, this is a horrible idea. We're all going to die.
Jane Farstrider. He's one of those guys who has no freaking, what's it called?
Amygdala?
Yes.
They'll know I'm coming. They may already know everything. And it doesn't matter, Tom put in. Not to me. I'll go by myself if necessary. But if I read this correctly...
Hot.
The only hope of success is if you are one of the three. Matt wanted to look away, could not. Bloody
I'm very
Aes
in favor of women saving themselves, but it also is hot when someone's like, I want to save them so badly that I would put my life on the line.
The woman almost certainly was dead, and yet she still tried coercing him into being a hero. Well, heroes got patted on the head and pushed out of the way until the next time a hero was needed if they survived being a hero in the first place.
That's super true. That's super true.
That is extraordinarily fucking true.
Yeah, that's very true. And that's Robert Jordan speaking from experience.
Yes.
$10.
Yes. Very often heroes did not. He had never really trusted Moiraine or liked her either. Only fools trusted Aes Sedai. But then, if not for her, he would be back in the Two Rivers, mucking out the barn and tending his Da's cows. Or he would be dead. And there old Tom sat, saying nothing, just staring at him. That was the rub. He liked Tom. Oh, blood and bloody ashes. Burn me for a fool, he muttered. I'll go.
Yes! 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 Yes!
Thunder crashed deafeningly, right atop a flash of lightning so bright it shone through the tent canvas. When the rumbling booms faded, there was dead silence in his head. The last set of dice had stopped. He could have wept. And that's the end of chapter 10.
Ominous. That's ominous.
Thanks for listening.
So we're going
everyone.
next,
Let's talk
right?
about it.
We're going?
But first we're going to do, just in case I need them, some more ads. Welcome back. Allie, what were you saying?
We're going to go.
Well, the next chapter starts... It's called A Hell in Madeiran.
Okay.
It's dice, and it starts, despite the late hours kept by everyone that night, the show made a very early start the next morning.
No.
And Allie has collapsed. And they don't mention Moiraine on the first page.
This is why people hate the circus plot. It's this. It's that we go from... Okay, we're going to go rescue Moiraine once we figure out where the Tower of Genji is, to back to the circus plot.
I don't know. You're going to have to keep reading.
I'm dying.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Allie, do you want to talk more about this, or do you want to read?
Of course. I just want to talk about the fact that Moiraine is coming back. All is right in the world right now.
Mother is mothering and all that?
She is swan diving back into this book.
Good joke.
If you know what I mean. I love her so much. I'm so excited. We need to go save her right now. Why are we... every minute that these boys are not saving my woman, I will smack them with this squishmallow. Just stop it. Go do the thing that's more important. Min has said they need her to win.
She didn't share any of that.
I know.
She kept it all to herself.
Because these miscommunications are going to be the death of me.
In my Wheel of Time?
I swear to God.
It's less likely than you think.
Like, this is why we have to have open communication. This is why people like me who get the story, I'm a hero. Okay? I'm saying I am keeping the world running. This is what happens when we don't communicate with our friends.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We have social media.
Go get my woman.
What we've got going on. It's linked down below.
What we've got going on is going to get my woman.
You can also join our Patreon if you want to support us that way. It's patreon.com/wheeltakes.
And I'm in support of us going to get our woman.
And you can always leave us a rating and a review, which helps an awful lot. Other than that, this has been episode 200. Maybe I'll start numbering them at the end. That'd be
You know what
fun.
will get a 10 out of 10 rating from me?
Rescuing Moiraine.
Rescuing my woman.
Are they all going to make it out?
Okay, I feel like Jane Farstrader is a bit of a red shirt.
Noel.
Yeah.
Noel's going to die.
I think they're if any of them were going to die, it's Jane Farstrader. We can't Moiraine's not going to be coming back just to die. That's stupid. Right? So she's fine. Because I think plot armor is in her favor. Plus, we need her to win. Matt's going to be at the last battle. We're not losing any of the Two Rivers kids until maybe the last battle.
At which point I believe you said it's either Perrin or Egwene.
If we lose any of them. I think we might lose one. And yeah, I feel like Perrin and Egwene feel like the most. I mean, Rand's going to die, but then he's going to do the Jesus thing.
Right.
And
okay.
I'm going to see how I feel about it because sometimes I don't dig it.
It's difficult to
pull off. I feel
well, here's the thing about resurrections. I feel like unless people are getting resurrected left and right, it's difficult to make one resurrection work.
It's difficult.
You can make
tend to
50
not like it.
resurrections work. It is kind of a running joke in
Sometimes,
Malazan that you're only mostly dead.
Yeah. I think you can pull it off if it's a very special boy and a very special situation. And I think I've figured out the metaphysics of how it makes sense to me, and it has to do with Moradin being in Rand's head.
Right, you talked about this. You thought they were going to
fuse somehow.
Or crossover thing. Yeah, okay.
I could see a world in which that happens. Well, because getting taken over by another person in your head is on the table. Plus, why make Moradin hot?
That is something you specifically have said several times.
It's so that we're okay with it when Rand goes into his body that he's still hooking up with these three young girls. Mostly them being okay with it. Because imagine if he was like a grizzled old fuck.
Sure.
And that's not me being ageist.
No.
We love grizzled old fucks on this podcast.
We've had this conversation so many times. It's not, the problem isn't May December romances. The problem is the pattern of so many May December romances and then adding in a May, December, whatever. We've talked about it. We don't have to do it again. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, when are we getting Moiraine?
Raphael.
Tell me.
Maybe we don't. Maybe we just read the letter, and then Robert
squeak.
Jordan was like, put that shit back on the fucking shelf, motherfucker.
I think it's
That'll
possible.
keep him on the hook.
Noel feels like a potential red shirt. Potentially, if we're going to lose one.
You're assuming this man is the hero of legend, Jane fucking Farstrider, and you're saying he's a red shirt?
Yeah, a bit.
He's a living legend.
In comparison to Tom and Matt, in terms of story, yeah.
All right.
In terms of where we're at in the story.
Admittedly, he did just show up.
He's just showed up. He's been showing up and telling stories for 3 books now.
8. When did he show him? 7 first, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 7, and then there was none in 8.
He first showed up in Grendel's room.
Sure, all right, sure. Okay.
So that was book 3.
If it's him, that was
4,
5. And then, if that was him, and then he showed up in 7, and then he was not in 8 because nobody in Abu Dar was in 8, and then 9, 10, 11. So this is his 4th book with this dude.
And all he's been doing is sitting in the corner telling over stories. And we found out that he was not there when his wife died. I feel like this is the last stand of Jane Farstrider, potentially. That has potential to me to be a thing. Either that or we just find out that he's Jane Farstrider there.
You think he's gonna go out on a high note?
He could. He could. It's I always knew this is how I would go.
Mm-hmm.
and like, I'm gonna go be reunited with my wife now.
Reconcile from my mistakes, die clean, that
I could
sort of
see
thing.
that.
All right.
I could see a world in which that were the case.
Could do.
Who else? Yeah, so those 3 are going. Now we know that. Now we know Allie's right about everything. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I could see if anyone's dying, it's him. Because Tom and Maureen just started their love story, so that's too early for either of them to go. Plus, Maureen just came back from the dead, so like that's not happening. And Matt has plot armor until the last battle.
Well, he's Taviran.
Plus, he's already going to stab his own eye. I think that's what happens. Now the question is, how does Rand lose that hand? Handy Randy. Yeah, but no, I think he's going to realize that somehow they're in his eyeball.
You don't want that shit. I've been playing a video game about having shit in your eye or behind your eye, and it's not good for anybody.
Eyeball? How does he figure that out?
Tadpoles. They put freaking tadpoles in the water that turn the freaking fish gake. It's
What?
a joke.
I know.
It's a Baldur's Gate joke.
So, yeah. But like, because at first I've always thought that the fin...
It's frogs, isn't it? Yes.
I always thought that the fin take his eye.
You have said that.
Because of like what happens when you get caught and like all their skin wearing and shit. But now I'm like, ooh, no, it would be way worse.
If he had to do
If he had to stab his own eye out.
What is the surgical term for removing? We already did the whole outro. I don't know what the fuck we're doing
Optectomy?
here. That could work.
I'm just using...
term for removing an eye. Remember earlier when we didn't remember Bill Murray's name?
Now we're throwing around optectomy.
Enucleation?
Never in a million years would I have guessed that.
Enucleation. What? Removal of an eye. Enucleation and evisceration are terms that refer to surgery to remove the eye from the eye socket or orbit. Enucleation is the surgical removal of the entire eyeball, leaving behind the lining of the eyelids and muscles of the eye. I'm very uncomfortable thinking about this.
Yeah,
Let's move
this is
on.
going to be a lot of body horror.
Right.
However he loses that eye,
I'm
it's
done
gonna
with this
freak
shit.
me out.
Oh, God, I'm done with Okay.
But that's what's going to happen.
All right.
We're on book 11?
Yes, of 14.
Okay. Yeah, he's going to lose that eye. Rand's going to lose that hand. Perrin already lost his wife, so we've gotten that. Perrin gets his wife back this book. That's what I think.
You have predicted that. Mm-hmm. When does Rand lose that hand?
It's got to be... Okay, the thing about the hand is it's got to be close enough, like far enough from Matt losing his eye that it's still interesting that people are losing body parts.
Sure.
Right? Because if, like, they lose them back to back... That's a little much.
Sure.
Right?
So if one happens, it locks the other one out for a while.
I think so.
Which do you want first?
Well, I want Matt to go rescue Moraine, so I'm like, that eye's got to go.
So you think that's going to happen? I mean, listen, we're early in this book enough.
But it can't.
Do you think this
but
is Matt's
Rand
plot
has
this
to
book?
lose a hand early enough that, like, when he dies, it's not like he loses a hand and then dies right after that.
And if this is Matt's plot this book, how does this tie into the Tuon plot? Because we kind of, that's arguably...
Does Tuon take his eye out?
Oh, God.
We fucked up.
That would be dramatic.
Well, I mean, he's got to lose the eye. I have a hard time imagining he's going to do surgery on himself.
Autoenucleation.
Autoenucleation.
I would make that the title, but I want the title to be MLC.
I mean, he could do it. But, I mean, I could see a world in which he just fucking, Oedipus it. Ugh. But, yeah, so I think... Or I could see Noel doing it. Nynaeve could do it. That'd be fucked. But she is a healer, so that'd be the person I would want to have do it.
We're going to have to... You want to keep reading? You can
Wait,
find
do you
out,
want me to
maybe.
keep speculating?
Sure.
Okay.
If you want. Do you want to?
I'm starting to fear that Rand's got to lose that hand first.
Okay.
Let me explain why. Rand losing a hand earlier means that we get like a while buffer in between Rand losing the hand and Rand dying and then coming back in a different body. So it's not like womp womp, like he just lost a hand and now he's like in a different body.
Sure.
So we're not like dealing with the consequences of that. And so it feels like not like the stakes were lowered.
Yeah, I understand that, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I feel like Rand's got to lose the hand actually kind of soonish
Okay.
for that to pay off.
Remember also that Robert Jordan thought this was the penultimate book.
That's the other thing I'm thinking.
He fully, before he passed away, he was saying, This is going to be, the next book is the last one, even if they have to sell it with a wheelbarrow, even if they have to invent new forms of bookbinding, the next one is the last one.
Okay, so then that means that maybe he loses a hand this book.
Okay.
But, like, I can't think of why. Like, what is he doing right now?
Chilling.
I know, he's, like, chilling. So
Yeah,
why would he lose a hand right now?
He hasn't actually in this book yet.
He hasn't wanted to do
I don't
anything,
think.
I don't think.
Well, he's going to go make peace with the Ch10. That's his plot, remember? Ugh. I know why you forgot, because everybody is currently making peace with the Ch10.
I hate it so much. Okay, so, but that's a trap.
Because Tuan, air quotes, is there?
Yeah, that's a trap.
So
that could be, I mean, Semirog could take his hand.
Semirog could take, okay, how?
Magic.
How? How do you magically take a hand?
A hand begone spell.
There you go. Power word hand removal.
Is there like a spell that feels like, I mean, if she burns him so badly that the hand's fucked.
Fireball. Ignis and all that.
Ignis.
Okay. We've been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate.
She could, I mean, she's the former surgeon.
She is.
I mean, doesn't that seem like it's kind of her bag?
Ignis. I just like
she
saying
likes
that.
Torturing people.
She does. She does.
Feels like appropriate.
Well, Rand is also the most magical man in the Seven Seas. So
well, we know this to be true.
Yeah.
But they've also got the sad bracelets.
They do have the sad bracelets.
Oh, fuck.
Suroth specifically has
to
them,
get out of the sad bracelet.
Oh, he's gonna cut his hand off to get out.
So are they both gonna fucking?
Well, the sad bracelet is an IDOM, which means it does not go around the enslaved person's wrist. It goes around their head.
But I thought it was
neck.
bracelets.
Yeah. So the wielder would have it on their. It's an IDOM.
Oh, well, there goes that theory.
Let me confirm that. It's technically called the Domination Band. It's two bracelets and a collar.
Yeah, and I feel like it's kind of a repeat beat to have both of them take organs out, right? Like, if Rand cuts off a hand,
Actively have to do it to themselves? Mm-hmm. Okay.
if Matt's already got to do that with his eyeball.
Sure, I understand.
So,
Well, and the thing about mats, too, by the way, is that if you're right about it being half the light, give up half the light of the world, it implies that it's voluntary.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I think that holds water. And I also feel like there's a potential for what happens to Rand with his hand to echo what happened with the Shido and Perrin.
What do you mean?
You know, Perrin cut the Shido's hand off.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
So I'm wondering if there's going to be like a parallel.
I forgot about that guy.
Why do I think that his hand's going to get cut off?
You have always
I've
thought
always
this.
thought that.
You've been. I don't remember. He says it a lot.
There's like a lot of hand
There's
shit.
a bloody hand with him. I remember at the end of the and you've twigged on this since the end of the first book. He goes, "I'll never channel again, even if I have to cut my hand off."
Yeah. Shit like that. Yeah. No, I think he's got to, even if I have to cut my hand off.
Yeah, he did say that.
Oh. So also he's going to cut his hand off.
Maybe.
But why?
A bloody hand and white hot iron and all that stuff. And, not to be confused with red hot iron, which was the Elaine prophecy, which has gone nowhere.
Well, I feel like it's got to have something. I mean, because like I don't see a world in which like Galad gets him and cuts his hand off. Because I'm like, how is Galad going to get him?
Galad's busy.
Galad's busy.
Assuming leadership that he didn't want.
So it's making me feel like, okay, Rand's got to lose a hand, which means Matt probably loses an eye later.
Okay, so if Rand loses his hand this book, you get 3 more after this.
I feel like we need a book's break from people taking their stuff out.
So 13.
12, yeah, so 13 is when he...
So we're not getting Moiraine until 13? That's a long time.
I know.
After this fucking
I know.
fuse light, that's a long time.
No, I know. This is just my, like, trying to think about plotting.
Sure, yeah.
Like, I would prefer that we go and rescue Moiraine, because that's what I want this book's plot to be, because that's, like, the most exciting thing that's happened in a hot second. That feels like the biggest plot thing where
Sure,
I'm like, ooh, plot. You know what I mean? That's like escalating toward last battle shit. But then that makes me go, then is Robert going to dangle that over my head for several books.
He's done it before. We'll have to read and find out. But anyway, we've already done the whole outro. So, anything else, Sally?
Get fucking lost.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Fuck mold.
Fuck mold.